This story explores mature emotional themes involving adult relationships and boundaries. It does not contain explicit material. Viewer discretion is advised. I didn't hear the front door open, or the light footsteps across the hardwood floor. I was half asleep on the couch, TV still flickering quietly in the background. My wife, Laura, had taken her daughter Mia to visit family for the weekend. The house was supposed to be empty. I remember thinking, finally, peace and quiet. That thought didn't last long. Around 1 a.m., I woke up to the soft creak of the floorboards. Not loud. Just enough to jolt me out of that in-between sleep where dreams start blending with reality. I opened my eyes, expecting maybe the dog, but no. Standing just a few feet away was Emily, Mia's best friend. 22. Confident. Sharp. And definitely not supposed to be here. She looked just as surprised to see me as I was to see her. "Hey," she said, like this was normal. Like we just ran into each other at a coffee shop. "Didn't know you'd still be here." I sat up slowly, trying to shake off the confusion. "Laura and Mia are out of town." "What are you doing here, Emily?" She shrugged, pulling her hoodie tighter around her. "Mia said I could crash here if I needed." I didn't think anyone would mind. I didn't know what to say to that. Laura never mentioned it. Mia hadn't said a word. But Emily had a key, one of those spare ones we keep under the flower pot, stupidly predictable. I didn't ask questions right away. Just nodded and rubbed my eyes, trying to make sense of it. "All right. Couch is taken, though." She smiled slightly, then walked past me like she lived there. Straight to Mia's room, like she'd done it 100 times. And maybe she had. The whole thing felt off. But it was late, and I figured I'd deal with it in the morning. Except I didn't sleep after that. Not really. Emily came back out maybe 20 minutes later. No reason. No words. Just walked into the kitchen in one of Mia's old oversized shirts and started rummaging through the fridge like this was her place. I watched from the couch, pretending to be half asleep again, eyes barely open. She poured herself a glass of water, leaned on the counter, and looked straight at me. "I thought you were sleeping," she said. I didn't answer right away. Something about her tone, it wasn't casual. It wasn't friendly. It wasn't hostile either. Just measured. I replied. She nodded. "You always sleep out here?" "Only when I've had a long day." She smiled, then took a slow sip of her water and said something that made my stomach twist. "I think we should talk. But maybe not right now." Before I could respond, she turned and walked back to the room. Like she hadn't just dropped a live wire in the middle of the living room. I didn't know what she meant by talk. I didn't know what this was turning into. But one thing was clear, I wasn't the only one keeping something buried. And maybe whatever Emily had to say was about more than just crashing on the couch. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. I lay on the couch with the blanket pulled up to my chest like some kind of flimsy shield, listening to every creak and sigh the house made. Emily didn't come out again. No footsteps, no movement. But that sentence she dropped, "I think we should talk," kept looping in my head. What the hell did she mean? Emily had always been present. That's the best word I can think of. She and Mia had been close since high school, and after college, she still stuck around. Some weekends she'd crash here without much warning. Laura never minded. She always said Emily had a rough home life, parents divorced, barely in contact, spent more time couch surfing than actually living somewhere stable. I didn't ask questions. I figured if she needed a place, and Mia was okay with it, then fine. But there was always something unreadable about her. Friendly, polite, but always watching. You never really knew what she was thinking. It wasn't until Mia's 21st birthday that I realized Emily had a tendency to linger a little too long in conversations. She'd find reasons to stay in the room when it was just the two of us, helping with dishes, hanging around after the others left, bringing up random topics that didn't require input but seemed like they were meant to keep me there. Laura noticed, too. I remember her joking about it once. Emily's got a little crush on you, I think. She laughed when she said it. I didn't. Now, a year later, Emily showing up alone at 1 a.m. didn't feel random anymore. By the time the sun came up, I was wired and restless. I made coffee and stood at the kitchen counter, hoping the caffeine would drown out the unease in my chest. I kept replaying last night in my head. Her tone. Her eyes. That strange smile, like she knew something I didn't. Around 8 a.m., she walked into the kitchen like it was any other morning. Hair tied up, same oversized shirt. She didn't look surprised to see me still awake. Just poured herself a cup of coffee and leaned on the counter like we did this all the time. You look tired, she said. Didn't sleep much. She nodded, sipped. Because of me? I didn't answer right away. What did you mean last night? About us needing to talk? Emily stared at me for a second, like she was weighing every possible version of the truth. Then she said, You ever feel like someone's not telling you everything? I raised an eyebrow. You mean Mia? No. I mean Laura. That stopped me. What about Laura? But Emily didn't answer. She just looked down into her cup, then back at me with that same unreadable expression. Maybe I shouldn't say anything. Not yet. She turned and walked toward the living room, leaving her words hanging in the air like smoke. That was the moment I realized this wasn't about a harmless sleepover. Emily had something to say, something that touched deeper than just a casual visit. And it wasn't clear whether she was trying to protect someone or destroy something. I didn't know if I could trust her. I didn't even know if I could trust myself. Strange how fast something ordinary can start to feel like a trap. 1 minute, you're sipping coffee in your kitchen, trying to shake off a bad night's sleep. The next, you're spiraling, wondering what's real, what's hidden, and who's been keeping score all along. Emily didn't say much after that moment in the kitchen. She acted like everything was fine, made herself eggs, asked if we had almond milk, even offered to feed the dog. But her words from earlier kept circling my head like vultures. You ever feel like someone's not telling you everything? And I mean Laura. Why bring up my wife? What did Emily know? Later that morning, I called Laura. She didn't answer. I tried Mia. Straight to voicemail. That wasn't entirely unusual. Laura's family lives in a small mountain town where cell service is hit or miss. But after what Emily said, it didn't sit right. I went about my day pretending nothing was wrong. Emily stayed in Mia's room most of the time, door closed, music low. She wasn't avoiding me, but she wasn't seeking me out either. Which honestly made me more uneasy than if she had. By early evening, I cracked. I knocked on her door, waited, then opened it slightly. She was sitting on the bed, laptop in front of her, earbuds in. She paused her music when she saw me. You got a minute? I asked. She nodded. Sure. I stepped inside, careful not to cross some invisible line. Look, Emily, If you know something, if there's something going on with Laura or Mia, I need you to be straight with me. She held my gaze. Calm. Controlled. I don't know everything. But I know enough to think you deserve to. That line punched harder than I expected. Okay, I said. Then tell me. Emily stood and shut the laptop. Walked past me and out into the hallway without another word. I followed, pulse rising. She sat down on the couch and patted the cushion next to her like we were about to watch a movie. 2 weeks ago, she started, I saw Laura at a cafe in town. With a man. Not a friend. Not a relative. I felt a weight land on my chest. What do you mean? I mean they weren't just having coffee. They were holding hands. Laughing. He kissed her cheek when they left. I followed them. They went back to a hotel. My heart sank. I wanted to deny it. Wanted to believe she misunderstood something. But deep down, I'd felt Laura pulling away lately. A little less touch. A little more distraction. Excuses. Busy weekends. Emotional distance dressed up as normal married life. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I asked. She looked at me for a long second. Because I didn't know if I should. Or if it was my place. But after last night, I figured maybe it was time. After last night? I asked, instantly on edge. Emily didn't elaborate. Just stared ahead at the blank TV screen, jaw tight. Before I could press further, my phone buzzed. It was Mia. 3 words in her message, we need to talk. I stared at Mia's message, we need to talk. Just 3 words, but they hit harder than anything Emily had said. I texted back immediately, what's going on? Is your mom okay? No reply. Emily sat quietly beside me, pretending to scroll through her phone. The silence in the room wasn't empty, it was suffocating. Like the air between us was holding its breath, waiting for something to blow. Did you tell her? I asked without looking at her. Emily didn't answer right away. No. I wouldn't do that without talking to you first. But you know something. You've known. And you waited until now to say it? She set her phone down slowly. I wasn't trying to play games. I didn't want to be part of your family's mess. But you deserved to know. And now. I think you're in the middle of something you don't understand. Her voice cracked a little at the end. First time I'd heard anything close to emotion from her. And that scared me more than anything. Before I could ask what she meant, Mia called. I answered immediately. Mia? Her voice was low, urgent. Emily's not supposed to be there. I stood up. What do you mean? She said you told her she could crash here. I didn't. I haven't talked to her in a week. We had a fight. She blocked me. My blood went cold. I looked at Emily. She was watching me now, no more pretending. Mia, she said she had your permission, she didn't. She's not okay, Dad. I didn't say anything because I thought she'd just cool off. But she's been showing up at places I go. Talking to people I know. She told my friend I wasn't safe with you. I froze. She what? I think she's trying to mess with you. Or with us. Just, don't be alone with her. Please. The line went quiet for a second, then Mia added, Mom was going to tell you everything. About her and the guy. But she was scared it would all come out wrong. Too late for that. I hung up slowly. My hand was trembling. Emily stood now too, arms crossed, watching me like she was trying to guess my next move. "Who was that?" she asked, even though she already knew. "Mia." Her jaw tensed. "Let me guess, she told you I'm crazy. She said you've been following her. Showing up uninvited. Lying." Emily shook her head and laughed once. Cold. Of course she'd say that. She's trying to protect your precious little world. I took a step back. "What is this, Emily? What do you want?" She stepped toward me. "You. To finally see the truth. Laura's cheating on you. Mia treats you like a placeholder. And you walk around this house like none of it matters. But I see you. I always have." It felt like the floor dropped. "I let you stay here because I trusted you," I said, voice tight. "And now I don't even know who I'm talking to." She tilted her head. "Maybe you're finally waking up." Before I could respond, the front door opened. Laura walked in. Her eyes landed on me. Then on Emily. Then she whispered, "Oh my God, what's going on?" For a moment, no one said a word. Laura stood in the doorway, holding her purse like it was the only thing keeping her grounded. Her eyes bounced between me and Emily, scanning the tension in the room like she'd just walked into the final act of a play she didn't know she was in. Emily's posture changed instantly. She stepped back, softened her face, and looked almost relieved. "Laura," she said, voice low and sweet, "I'm glad you're here." I turned to my wife. "Why didn't you tell me?" Laura blinked. "Tell you what?" "About him. The man at the cafe. The hotel." Her face went pale. She looked at Emily. Then back at me. "How do you, Emily saw you?" Laura's jaw tightened, but she didn't deny it. Instead, she slowly stepped inside and shut the door behind her, as if bracing for a storm. "I was going to tell you," she said, quietly. "But not like this." Emily's voice cut through. "Of course you weren't. You were going to keep playing house until it fell apart on its own." "Stop," I said. "This isn't your business anymore." But Emily smiled, just slightly. "Isn't it?" Laura turned to her then, her voice colder now. "You've said enough." Then came the moment that changed everything. Emily reached into her bag, pulled out a folded piece of paper, and tossed it on the coffee table. "You want the truth," she said. "Here's mine." I picked it up. "Read the first line." It was a restraining order, filed against Emily. Dated 6 months ago. Filed by another family. "She's done this before," Laura said, her voice trembling now, eyes locked on Emily. "They had a daughter. College-aged. Emily got close to the family. Claimed the father had feelings for her. Started showing up at their house. Calling late at night. The wife filed for the order when she caught Emily sitting outside in her car, just watching. I looked at Emily, waiting for her to deny it. She didn't. Instead, she stepped toward me, calmly. That woman was unstable. She hated her husband. She made me the villain because it was easier than facing the truth. I backed up. "You came into my house," I said, anger surging now. "You lied. You manipulated all of us." Emily's eyes welled up, but not with shame. With something colder. Resentment. "You think I lied? I gave you a way out. A truth you couldn't see on your own. But if you want to pretend I'm the problem, go ahead." Laura moved between us. You need to leave. Now. Emily stared at her. No words. Just a long, unreadable look. Then she picked up her bag, walked to the door, and paused with her hand on the knob. This won't be the end, she said softly, not for any of you. She left. Quietly. No slam. No drama. But the silence she left behind was louder than any door could have been. After Emily left, the house felt like it had been emptied of air. Laura and I sat across from each other in the living room, the restraining order still lying on the table like a fresh wound. I couldn't stop staring at it. 6 months ago, another family had lived this same nightmare. And now here we were, repeating it. I should have told you sooner, Laura finally said. Her voice was small. Tired. I didn't know how. I thought I could fix everything before it got this bad. I looked at her, the woman I'd shared 10 years with, and realized I didn't even know what everything meant anymore. You cheated, I said. And then let that into our home. She flinched. I didn't let her in. Mia did. And when I found out, I didn't think she was dangerous. Just unstable. I was afraid confronting her would make it worse. You lied by staying quiet. I know, she whispered. And I'm sorry. There it was, an apology. Not wrapped in excuses. Just the truth, finally on the table between us. And it didn't fix anything. But it was something. Mia came home the next morning. She dropped her bag inside the door, hugged Laura without a word, then turned to me. I'm sorry I didn't say anything earlier, she said. I didn't know how serious it was. You okay? I asked. She nodded. I will be. We didn't talk about Emily much after that. A detective called a few days later to ask questions. Turns out Emily had broken the terms of her previous restraining order just by being here. She wasn't arrested, but a second report was filed. And this time, it was ours. Life didn't snap back to normal. Laura and I took space. Separate bedrooms. Therapy. We didn't file for divorce, not yet, but the foundation we stood on was cracked wide open. Still, we were trying. And that meant something. 1 week later, I got an envelope in the mail. No return address. Inside was a photo, one I'd never seen before. It was of me and Mia, taken from a distance. I recognized the park. It was from over the summer, when we'd gone for ice cream after her graduation. I remember laughing in that moment. Totally unaware someone was watching. On the back, written in neat handwriting, were 4 words, "You never saw me." I didn't show Laura. Didn't call the cops. I just sat on the porch that night with the photo in my hand and let the weight of it settle. Emily might have left. But the story she inserted herself into? That's ours to finish now. We're still healing. Still figuring out where the pieces go. And maybe we won't ever get it exactly right. But we're not pretending anymore. And that, finally, feels like the start of something real. It took a while, but things finally settled. Emily was gone, and with her, the storm she brought into our lives. The photo she sent was the last we ever heard from her. There were no more surprise visits, no more strange calls. Just quiet. Laura and I sat down together, really talked, not just about what happened, but why. Her betrayal hurt, but under it was a truth we both ignored: we'd stopped showing up for each other. Somewhere along the way, routine replaced connection. And Emily? She found the cracks and pushed them wide open. We started couples therapy. It wasn't easy, but it was honest. We set boundaries. We listened. And we stopped pretending everything was fine when it wasn't. Mia and I? That took time too. But she told me the truth even when it was hard. She watched it all unfold and stood up when it counted. That matters more than anything. We're closer now. Stronger. The lesson? Boundaries matter. So does speaking up, even when it's messy. Sometimes the people who seem helpful are really just looking for a way in, and if you ignore the signs, you might not see the damage until it's too late. But healing is possible. Even after everything.